of Florida asked the U.S. Department of Transportation to turn over all records related to the engineering, design, construction, safety, and inspection of the project, which spanned a major road next to the campus of Florida International University. Police said more bodies may be recovered from under the rubble after the 950-ton, $14.2 million bridge plummeted onto traffic on one of the busiest thoroughfares in South Florida on Thursday, crushing vehicles trapped underneath. Officials said the victims have not been named, but at least one was a female student at FIU. At least 10 people were taken to hospitals. 2 remained in critical condition on Friday, according to officials and local news media. Uncertainty over the stability of remaining sections of the bridge hampered rescue efforts, according to officials. Florida Governor Rick Scott's office had said that a company contracted to inspect the bridge was not pre-qualified by the state, adding if anybody has done anything wrong, we will hold them accountable. Munilla Construction Management, which installed the bridge, said it was devastated by what happened and was cooperating with investigators and doing everything they could to help. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In what medical authorities are calling one of the worst ointment complications in White Plains Hospital's history, area girlfriend Caroline Nagler was rushed to the ER this week after suffering an extreme overdose of scented lotion. With a blood lotion level of 0.45, hospital sources confirmed that Nagler had rubbed onto her body 4 times the lethal limit of shea butter, green tea cleanses, and naturally soothing mineral therapies.
Even putting aside the sheer level of lotion Miss Nagler had on her person when she arrived at the ER, this was an especially lethal combination she was using. She was mixing scented moisturizers, age-defying serums, and even some harder stuff like jojoba and essential fruit extracts. Frankly, she's lucky to be alive.
In other news, Beijing's air solidifies. A Delta Airlines counteragent assures a man he will never see his family again. And a mannequin must think he's some pretty hot shit. They say if you love something, let it go. But how could we possibly leave you behind after being blessed with a relationship as unique and complex as this one? For more, keep checking TheOnion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, and there's the music. Hey. I think something's screwy with our ISDN line. Welcome to the live Saturday edition of the program with you here in the beautiful Keene, New Hampshire studios tonight. It's Ian.
And Chris.
So we're going to start out with a piece of news. I guess it's not really news. Well, I guess it's news that studies apparently have been done about millennials going through quarter-life crises. You've heard of midlife crises.
Oh, my God.
And so I'm getting close to 40. Chris, you are apparently over 50.
Decades older.
I don't know what that is. It's going to go away now, though. It's going away now.
It's an interesting show so far.
Yeah, I think that was also coming from our network, so something might be a little screwy on their ends. But anyway, the toll-free number if you want to join us here, 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. You can bring up anything that you want, but we are going to talk about quarter-life crises.
Can I go back and have mine now? Because I never really...
You never did have one? That's what I was going to ask you, was did you ever go through what they call the midlife crisis?
No, I didn't really have a midlife. Well, I mean, there were... See, how can I put this that's radio friendly? I would say that, maybe at times during my 40s when I was, let's say between relationships, I might have acted out a bit. I don't think inappropriately.
Acting out. Now, is that this? I mean, when you say acting out, what does that mean?
Dating 20-year-olds and stuff like that.
Well, I mean...
well, I know. Who am I talking to here? Come on.
I don't consider that to be acting out. That's just
but
the normal way of things.
No, I think once you hit your late 30s, early 40s, we have a tendency to want to relive some of those... it's a little bit of denial. It's sort of like I'm not really getting that old. I still feel great. I still feel like I feel like I did when I was 18 years old.
You look great.
Well, thank you, Ian. You look great too.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But I just, I never really, I never mentally grasped that whole idea that, I'm older now. Physically, sometimes you feel aches and pains, but.
See, so my understanding of the midlife crisis, again, having not gone through such a thing, it always felt to me like it was somebody who had an issue with where they were in their life. Not necessarily that they wanted to relive the glory days, although I suppose that could be a way it manifests. But like, here I am, I'm 40, 45 or whatever, and I work at this corporate job, and life sucks. Is this all there is?
Half my life's over, and now what? Is this all there is to it? Is it all downhill from here? I think those feelings strike people too.
That would be part of it. And then if they have access to funding at that point, then they're sort of, maybe they've got some significant savings built up because they've been around for a few decades, so they've managed to do that. That's when they buy the Lambo, right? Or they get themselves
usually a red Corvette.
In our case of our co-host Mark Edge, who we've teased for going through a midlife crisis, he bought himself a boat,
right?
And 1 year later. He's now selling the boat.
Yes. As he said, I loved when he said, I said, how was it? He said, the pirate's life is not for me.
Well, it turns out it wasn't for his wife as much as it was for him, but I'm sure he found it had its downsides as well. So it seems like almost like a crisis of identity in some ways. And if you've been through it and you can identify the fact that you've been through it, it's probably something where it's easier to identify when you're not going through it, right? Where if you're on the outside of it, you can say, oh yeah, that guy's going through it. My friend is going through a midlife crisis.
Nice Corvette.
So here's a story from independent.co.uk. Again, this is about the millennials, where 6 in 10 of them claim to be going through a quarter-life crisis, according to a new study. Many of us are familiar with the trope of a midlife crisis, a person in middle age who's feeling stuck in a rut and who reacts by indulging in erratic behavior like making spontaneous career decisions or buying a motorbike. But now it seems more and more of us are evaluating our existence far earlier, as a new study reveals more than half of millennials are experiencing a so-called quarter-life crisis.
You're laughing because my eyes are probably like literally rolling 360 degrees in my head. This blows me away, and I don't want to say, back in the day, I just don't remember being... How do I put this? So whiny about everything. And I don't want to characterize all millennials are whiny. They're certainly not. But the ones that seem to talk to newspapers seem to be. This is story after story about, how things are. And it's not just the financial aspect, because we can talk about real problems in our world that I think millennials should really be troubled by. Things like wars and the ever expanding state and loss of rights, and
for sure
the devastation of their currencies, and how they're not not likely to have the retirement that their parents may have had or generations before. I get all that, but at some point you just got to say, all right, you don't like your lot in life, work on improving it. And quit trying to come up with a label to blame it on. Yeah, certainly whining about your situation isn't going to improve it. It never has, and it never will. The study was carried out by First Direct Bank, and psychologist Dr. Oliver Robinson aimed to look at how people can use a crisis as a spark for change, but in the process discovered a huge number of 25 to 35-year-olds that are struggling to cope amid financial, career, and personal pressures. Analyzing 2,000 Brits, the study found that, and maybe it'd be different if they did a sampling from other places, because from what I understand, it's pretty depressing living in Britain. But the study found that financial difficulties were the biggest single cause, with more than half of the people responding going through a quarter-life crisis, admitting they spend more than they earn each month. And in fact, I saw a headline, I don't know if I still have it in front of me here, but that American debt levels are at the highest level since before the recession, I think. Something like that. I saw a similar article. Yeah, so, I mean, whether it's Great Britain or whether it's the United States, people in these Western countries seem to have problems with money. They seem to not understand how to manage it. They seem to not understand how to save it. And then as a result, you get a situation where somebody is spending more than they earn each month. That's a formula for failure. Yeah, and it's certainly depressing. I mean, I read, I can't remember what study it was, but it talked about, leading causes of stress, just stress period, not crises or anything like that, but, relationships and money. I mean, those are the two things that are generally it. And you have the other things, major life changes, loss of a loved one, things like that. But money and relationships, and unfortunately, they're way, way, way up there. But these are what's sort of optimistic, I think, for them, is these are things that can be corrected. You know,
they can. And the good news is if you are finding yourself in some sort of depression or crisis or whatever. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in a crisis exactly. Right. But if you do find yourself in that place and you're 25 to 35 years old, good news is you've got the whole rest of your life in front of you to get your S together and, learn a thing or two about financial intelligence.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And I think part of it is we're sort of, I won't say brainwashed, but we're certainly influenced more now by the internet and by seeing things that we've never seen before. When I was growing up, no internet. You didn't see. There wasn't even a Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I mean, you knew who rich people were. They wore top hats and they lived in mansions out in the country and things like that. But this sort of this ostentatious sort of, the rapper lifestyle, the gold and the bling and everything else, and songs about G6s and stuff like that. I think that it puts an unfair goal in people's mind. I mean, if you're paying your bills and you got a little bit of money left over to have a little bit of fun and you're happy, that might be $18,000 a year. That might be $20,000 a year. It might be $12,000 a year, depending on where you live. Mm-hmm. But if you're chasing an unrealistic lifestyle, that's going to lead to just you're always going to feel like you're failing. Especially
if you're trying to attain that lifestyle when you don't have the means, meaning that you're going to rent a center and getting the 80-inch television and the leather couch, and you're trying to get every single nice thing you can possibly get so you can feel like you're there, but then ultimately you end up just getting further and further behind the ball. You have some flashy possessions, but reality is they're not yours. They're owned by Rent-A-Center, and you're paying them through the nose on a weekly basis in order to have those things. Now, again, we're talking generally here. Obviously, there are people out there within the millennial sect that are they're able to save. They know their finances, and they probably have their head on straight and aren't having a midlife crisis as a result.
And they're probably way ahead of you and I. There are those guys out there too. They're all in crypto.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Somebody who got some cryptocurrency when they were 15 in 2009, and they now are a billionaire. Those people don't have to worry about a whole lot except for protecting their crypto. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and I realized I just totally ran us right into a break, so we'll be back.
Receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. Are you going through what they're describing here as a quarter-life crisis? The independent.co.uk is reporting on a study analyzing 2,000 Brits, finding that people are having trouble out there in the millennial generation. It's Ian and Chris here in the studio, and you're welcome to comment, 855-450-FREE. That's free like freedom, 855-450-3733, or call in on Skype. The Skype username here is LRN.FM, and we've got Discord at discord.lrn.fm, where you can also use the on-air call-in line chat room there to get on with us. In fact, we're going to go to your calls and thoughts here, but I also want to make sure you know about liberty.menu. If you are a libertarian, if you are somebody who rejects the initiation of force and you agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, you qualify to use liberty.menu. It's a great way to get your business information out to neighbors, out to people who care about freedom, people who think like you, that want to patronize businesses like yours. Because it makes sense when you're given the choice between options in the marketplace. Why not go with the one that's ideologically aligned with you?
Could not agree more.
But you need to know they exist in the first place, and that's what liberty.menu does, is it brings customers who love freedom together with business owners who love freedom. Go to liberty.menu. It's a free tool. You can list your business there. You can also list local events that you might be putting on or involved with, or digital content that you have created. There's a bit of a social networking aspect. You can leave comments and ratings for the businesses that you patronized. So go check it out. It's really useful. It looks great. It's easy to use. Liberty.menu, and it's free. That's liberty.menu. As we continue here, we'll talk more about the quarter-life crisis. And if you can relate, maybe you've gone through a midlife crisis and you want to, call in about that, you're welcome to. Chris, you say you didn't really experience that. I haven't experienced it. It seems to affect people that feel lost in life, that they reach a certain point and they feel like they are behind the ball, or they feel like they're not doing the thing that is their calling, or
Right.
Various different reasons why they're just not satisfied.
Yeah, something's missing.
Where they are. So let's go to your calls, though, and thoughts. First up, Riley is on the line with us, calling from, I believe, Utah. Hello, Riley.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
So I have never, that I can think of, had a quarter-life crisis.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay.
I've had events in my life that have been really challenging, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a quarter-life crisis. And I've had events where I've had times in my life where I feel like I'm not making progress, but I wouldn't consider it a crisis because you can always figure out how to work your way through it.
Life does have a tendency of providing you the tools that you need to get through whatever challenges that have presented themselves.
Exactly. And sometimes with hard experiences, they can refine you. They can make you a better person. It's really hard for some people to understand this whole concept of being refined and being a better person because they think about, oh my gosh, this is such a crisis. What am I going to do about it? Instead of trying to take a different perspective and think about, okay, well, this is happening now. What can I do to work through it and cope with it?
Yeah, I think that's all. That's a very positive message. And isn't it true? Isn't it true that in order to grow in life, you have to get out of your comfort zone, right? So it's easy to get into a place where you know everything that you need to know, and you feel good where you are. But if you're not getting outside of that, then you're never going to become more than that. And so I think it is important to do those things. And like I was saying, life does provide you the tools, but you have to pick them up. You have to be willing to see that those things are there, to see the opportunities that present themselves, to open the doors and the windows of opportunity and step through them, even though life does, put them there.
Yeah. Riley, do you think that recent generations have sort of some in those generations, again, we're just talking in general, have an unrealistic outlook on where they will be in life? I mean, you could even look at parents, will I be where my parents were at this time in my life? And the way things are going, I'm not sure that, millennials don't look at that and go, man, they had a lot going for them, and this whole thing's kind of crumbling.
I think that's entirely possible. And I also think that it comes down to how the people were raised in that generation, because my parents raised me pretty well, I think. And, it could also come down to parenting from different children's perspectives and how that child was raised, because sometimes children don't have a really good background and from parents or whatever, or family background. And it may be really tough for them to have role models of people to look up to for where they want to be, and people who've struggled and how they overcome those struggles.
Yeah, and by the way, for our listeners that may be unfamiliar with you, they might just be tuning in for the first time. You are the host of your own podcast. Is it Anarcho Agenda? Is that right?
That's correct. It's Anarcho Agenda.
Yeah, and you're also blind. So you want to talk about somebody who's had some challenges to overcome in life. You're a blind man in his early 30s who feels like you are on track. And, yet there are people out there with their full faculties who feel like they're lost and blowing in the wind. So, sounds like you're doing pretty well.
I try to do well. There are times when I feel like I don't do well.
Well, everybody has that, right? I mean, I feel that way when I don't get up on time in the morning.
that doesn't go away, trust me.
Yeah. Hey, Riley, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. He also is the creator of our Daily Digest version of Free Talk Live, which you can access on our feeds page at feeds.freetalklive.com. Those are the different RSS feeds, the podcasts that you can subscribe to. And we include the Daily Digest in our full feed. So if you subscribe to the normal feed, you get the full-length shows and you get the Daily Digest. But if you just want the Daily Digest, there's a digest-only podcast there that you can subscribe to. And he actually takes the time to boil down a 2-hour solid block of talk content into 20 to 30-minute block of talk content.
Amazingly well-produced.
So
I love listening to him. Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. So check him out over at feeds.freetalklive.com. So we're talking about the idea of a quarter-life crisis, which according to a study of over 2,000 or approximately 2,000 Brits, found that over half of the millennial respondents, 6 out of 10 of them, claim to be going through a quarter-life crisis. They admit that they spend more than they earn each month. 53% of them say that. Other pressures include trying to find the right job at 26%, or working in a challenging job, 24%, trying to get on the property ladder at 22%, and being in the right relationship at 25%.
So I hear a couple government problems in there.
Tell me.
Well, the property one, I mean, it was never an expectation when I was growing up that, well, you better have your own house by the time you're 25.
It seems a little unrealistic.
Who would have thought that? But also, because back then, excuse me, Back then, it was a standard that you were going to have to put down 10%, at least, or maybe more, depending on your credit. So who was going to save up, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 by the time they were 25 years old? I mean, that's
certainly not anyone with college debt.
Right, of course not.
I mean, you can't save anything.
Which is another issue. And there was one more in the ones you read we can talk about after the break.
We'll continue here. Your calls and thoughts. Our number 855-450-FREE on the idea of a crisis, either midlife or quarter life. A lot of millennials claiming they are in a quarter life crisis. Do you buy it? Are you a millennial? Are your friends freaking out? 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio waves here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you here in the studio, you've got Ian
and Chris.
We're talking about the idea of a not just a midlife crisis, but apparently a quarter life crisis. According to The Independent over in the UK, they've looked at a study of 2,000 Brits and found that the millennials in that study, 6 out of 10 of them, claim to be going through a quarter-life crisis. Those in the 25 to 35-year-old age bracket there are struggling to cope amid financial, career, and personal pressures. In our chat room right now over on Discord, which you can join over at discord.lrn.fm, we got a real estate agent in Orlando, Mighty Mike. He says most of his millennial clients have no money. Sounds to me like they're not good prospects then for real estate.
Yeah,
he
but
says he has one right now that has 2 new cars, 2 cell phones, wears all the fancy clothes, and has no savings at all, and has the worst attitude.
But he cannot get him a 100% backed government taxpayer-backed student loan because he makes too much money.
Does he make too much money? It sounds like he doesn't have a dime to his name.
Right, but he makes enough. He's spending it all. He's probably spending more, but that's the case. And, it's tough if you don't comprehend basic economics and basic financial management.
And they don't teach you that in government school.
They did not teach economics when I was in school. But
they had a course called economics, but
Yes.
it wasn't useful, to the individual. It wasn't personal financial habits.
Well, we had that in home ec.
Yeah.
And when I went to school, back in the 1920s, it was a required course.
What did they tell you in home ec?
You did the stuff you expect in home ec, like we're going to bake a cake and do stuff like that. But we also covered how to create a home budget, how to balance your checkbook.
So we never had home ec in gifted school. Just didn't have that.
Well, we didn't have a gifted school, so we really didn't have much of anything. But again,
so they did teach you something.
Yes, and that used to be part of regular government school curriculum. And, once that's gone, and most people are going to assume that the only sensible thing to do is to send your kid to public school because, hey, it's free. We've already paid for it, which drives me nuts. But that's what they're going to get, and they're not going to get those basic life skills. It always has been, but it's now even more important for parents to convey those things to their children and to teach them.
Benefit the government to have a class of people that are basically struggling and on the edge of failure?
Oh, absolutely.
Because the government wants you to look to them for assistance. They want you to depend on them, to rely on them to take care of you.
Yep.
They want to create that relationship. And so it shouldn't surprise us when the government runs schools, which were created as, I believe, the Prussian model of education, essentially a model that's designed to crank out a worker drone, somebody who they can add, they can write, they can read.
They can work in a factory.
They can work, but they're not really in a position to where they can think for themselves. They're not encouraged to do those sorts of things. They're certainly not given the financial intelligence to, which is just information. It's just information and practice.
Right. Independence should be suppressed. That was the idea. This is the progressive era in Europe and in the early 20th century of the U.S. that we don't need those types of people. We already have them. They go to the Ivy League school. There are brain trusts. There are brilliant minds. We don't need those. What we need are, like you said, drones. We need people that will just go to work, do their thing,
come home,
not ask for a lot,
watch TV,
right? That's
go
it.
back,
buy products,
buy your favorite
repeat.
vice,
So
pressures on the Brits in the survey include people admitting they spend more than they earn. They're trying to find the right job. They're working in a challenging job, trying to get on the property ladder, and being in the right relationship. You had talked about how government has an effect on some of those things, Chris. Was there more that you wanted to comment on?
No. Actually, the first one was financial.
Spending more than they earn,
right.
finding the right job, working in a challenging job as is, getting on the property ladder, and being in the right relationship. These are struggles they're having.
There's a lot of things that are related to money there, and when you have
your relationships are better when your finances are better.
It's one less thing you're going to fight about, and financial issues are the number one things that people in relationships fight about. But when you have bad money, when you have a money that is naturally inflationary and it's not going to go as far next year, your raises are not going to keep up with inflation. Which is the state of the economy.
That puts you behind the ball. You aren't able to buy as much with the same amount of money.
Right.
And so you end up having a lower and lower quality of life.
Yes, and and that is completely tied to government and banking. And,
for sure.
And
the money that the government puts out there. Just look at Venezuela. You know,
right.
That's the latest extreme example of it.
Sure.
But the same things are happening in every other state on Earth.
They're happening in the United States to a lesser degree.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Next year, your dollars will be worth less than they are this year.
It's pretty much a guarantee.
It is. It's a guarantee. It's been going on it's about 100 years now. Yeah. And
more than that, right? 1913 was the Federal Reserve?
1913, yeah. So, 105.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's just part of the way the system's rigged. But government doesn't have to slow down on its spending. It can print more money.
That's right.
Which they can spend, but it devastates you. It's the unseen, invisible tax that you all pay.
Right, which increases the level of stress. Right, because if you're working as hard as you've always worked,
right,
but yet you cannot have the same lifestyle because, as you're pointing out, the inflation of the money supply, the increasing prices that tend to result from that, the fact that your pay rate isn't keeping up with those things is meaning that you are unable to live the same lifestyle year after year, which increases the level of stress on you because who wants to go down in their quality of life year after year?
So picture the guy that does a perfect job of he's the millennial and he does a perfect job of budgeting. He figures out his income. He looks at exactly how much his house payment is, exactly how much this car he wants is. He figures it all out, and it works fine for 1 year.
Yeah, 5 years later.
And then 1 year later, he's like, how come this doesn't make sense? Oh, yeah. My cost of fuel has gone up. My cost of food has gone up. Somehow the cost of baking a loaf of bread went up.
Right. And it's easy to blame the companies, right? Oh,
sure.
These evil corporations. Well, it's actually the evil corporation known as government that is printing the money that ultimately it's chasing the same amount of goods around, and so therefore prices will tend to rise in those economic circumstances like that. Now, that's not to say there aren't prices that can go down over time, as we've seen market innovations allow for, let's say, manufacturing to be more efficient, shipping to be more efficient. So those things can bring prices down even in an inflationary environment.
Very much so. Yeah. And we, particularly in consumer electronics and computers and things like that, but the things that are highly regulated that we have to rely on,
like healthcare,
like education, like childcare, those are the things that are growing astronomically, and that is directly tied to government policies. And I'm sorry, those of you listening tonight, but you're getting the short end of the stick.
The data also revealed the average millennial claims to have been feeling at rock bottom for more than 6 months before trying to, quote, sort their life out, unquote. But according to Dr. Robinson, it's not all gloom and doom. There's two sides to a quarter-life crisis, he says. They are often feared as periods of difficulty and distress, but in my experience, they can also be times of openness, curiosity, and growth. He says further, people may find old habits and coping mechanisms no longer help in the way they used to, and this can act as a spur to explore new ideas, new activities, and new ways of overcoming life's challenges, unquote. Worried that you're headed for a breakdown? Luckily, Darain Faraz, career expert at LinkedIn, has shared his top tips for dealing with a quarter-life crisis. So let's go through these here, Chris, and see if these are actually helpful suggestions for people.
Sounds good to me.
Number one, stop comparing yourself to others.
Good idea.
And we'll tell you more about that coming up here in moments. And what we found is that a lot of people have found, at least, that social media encourages this comparison.
Oh, I believe it.
When, people see friends of theirs that are getting new houses or traveling the world or doing these things that they feel like they can't do at their point in their life, that can cause some of those feelings of frustration. 855-450-FREE like freedom. If you want to join us, share your tips as well and your thoughts. It's Free Talk Live.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us on the radio here. We're talking about the idea of a quarter-life crisis now, with more than 6 out of 10 millennials in a survey of Brits, 2,000 Brits, say they are having a quarter-life crisis. You are welcome to comment on the things that cause these crises in people's lives. It's Ian and Chris in the studio here, and how to change your life to avoid this or to get out of it. There's some suggestions here from a careers expert from LinkedIn that we're going to dig into here in a moment. But, of course, would love to hear from you as well. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. And you can join us on the Discord on-air call-in line chat room over at discord.lrn.fm. Now, $6shirts.com is back on board here at Free Talk Live. It's the second time we've had them on as an advertiser.
Nice.
And they have some cool shirts, man. I mean, when they say there's a gigantic selection, they're not exaggerating. Man. I mean, it took me a long while to actually scroll through just their movie category.
Right.
To find, and it's not hard to find shirts that you're going to just absolutely love to wear. I got a couple of them, some pop culture movie related things. I got one of Snake Plissken's like silhouette,
Sweet.
his face.
I saw that one.
Yeah, man. And then I got another one of The Fifth Element, that movie as well. Chris, you got your shirts in yesterday. What did you, or 2 days ago? What did you get?
The first one shows tic-tac-toe, and it says the only solution is not to win. It's sort of
War games,
but it's sort of an anti-war thing. And then the other one has two hands, one with a red pill in it and one with a blue pill in it.
The Matrix.
That's kind of where I feel we're at.
Yep. Good stuff there, man. And not just movie related, but also video game, pop culture, politics. Go check them out over at $6shirts.com. And yes, they are as low as $6. In fact, you can even get I think 10 and get an even lower price. So go to $6shirts.com. Oh, and if you want to save a little bit more, use code FTL like Free Talk Live to get 10% off of your order at $6 shirts. That's six with the number $6shirts.com. Code FTL to save 10%. Let's go to the phones. To the phones. Dan is in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Dan.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, welcome.
You were talking earlier about the quarterly crisis the young
midlife,
people in England are going through.
The quarter life
crisis. Yes.
Exactly. Their environment changed a few years back. The higher education system went to a business model. Used to be paid for by the government. They're having to take student loans out now, and they're not used to it, and it's hitting them hard. That's my comment.
You do know that if the government pays for something, that people are paying for it through taxes,
I understand that.
Right.
I understand that, but they changed the business model to a business model for their higher education, and the public, I believe, the young people were still in that socialistic mode of government will take care of me, and they aren't.
Yeah,
and they're getting caught in the lurk.
I agree with where you're going. I mean, and more specifically, I would tie it to this. Yes, the model changed so that the government was now going to guarantee all student loans to address the rising cost of education. But guess what happens when you tell a college?
No. In England, it was free, and now maybe they are guaranteeing the student loans. I don't know, but the young people are coming out of their higher education saddled with debt that
they just never had before.
Exactly.
We're still talking about 6 out of 10.
I don't think they took it into account how that was going to cripple them.
Well, I mean, it's interesting speculation, but Dan, we're still talking about 6 out of 10 people in the millennial age range, and I don't know about the UK, but I heard just the other day that there's still only about, I don't know how accurate this is, it's just what I heard, that there's still only about 1 out of 3 people that are graduating college in the United States. So I don't imagine that 6 out of 10 are college graduates in the UK. Do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that a quarter-life crisis could affect somebody who didn't go to college, right?
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah,
go
being
ahead.
Being in debt is what I thought may have been the key to it.
It's one of them. I mean, there's definitely no doubt about that. As we pointed out here, they're struggling because they.
I am libertarian, by the way.
That's cool. They spend more than they earn each month. They're having difficulty finding the right job or working in a challenging job, trying to get on the property ladder and being in the right relationship. I think whether or not you're in college or have graduated college, a lot of those things are going to affect you. I mean, certainly being saddled with more debt is not going to, increase your level of happiness in life. There's no doubt about that.
All right. Well, I thank you.
Thanks,
for letting
Dan.
me say my piece.
Appreciate your call tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom. John, he's in Dover, Delaware, listening, I believe, to WDOV. John, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey guys. I just wanted to say I'm not having a midlife quarter life crisis because I'm out in midlife range. I'm 40 now, so I think 80 is a good age to get to. So that's about halfway for me. I'm not having any type of crisis, but I was talking to my buddy on a ride home from work a couple of days ago, and we were saying that we think that life may be just a little bit too short. Once you get to a point where you think you got it figured out and you got your shit together.
I'm sorry we have to let you go. You just can't say that. On the radio here, unfortunately. It sounded like he was going somewhere interesting, and then he dropped the S word. And unfortunately, we are on federally regulated radio stations.
Yes, we are.
And some people don't like that word, and unfortunately, we had to hit the dump button. And we can't tolerate it. There's just no way that we can keep you on. So feel free to call back tomorrow night and express yourself without using the F word or S word or a couple of other words.
Some C words.
And then we'll be fine. But anyway, so quarter life crisis. It's difficult out there. There's no doubt about that. The government isn't making it easier. Let's go to Larry in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Larry.
How you doing, Mark and Ian?
Mark's actually not here tonight, and I don't know when he's coming back. But
you got Chris.
Chris Reitman is in the studio here.
How you doing, Chris? Hey, when the institutions that you believe and put your trust in turn predatory on you, and the lifestyle that you have been tricked into believing exists really does not exist, that's when you have your crisis. It takes some of these young people until they get to 25 to understand that online does not exist, and that the deal with the college and so forth does not exist either. It's just a slave chain. So
maybe that's why I avoided any kind of crisis, because I rejected institutions way, way back. I mean, I've never been in favor of them.
I'm glad I've done it too, but when you look at people overspending, that's just the more thing. I was going to my mailbox yesterday. There was 4 advertisements for cable, and get this special thing, so you can watch movies all day. All these advertisements that are going to charge you to waste hours of your valuable time sitting down watching some movie, or hours on the internet watching porn or doing other derogatory things to waste your time, and you're going to pay to bring this into your home.
I wish that I could get the cable company to stop advertising its other services to me with the money that I pay them every single month.
Exactly.
Like, could you just cut me a break of $3 a month on the bill and just stop sending me all these mailers?
Right.
Save yourself the postage.
Predators. They are predators.
Who?
And the people are buying to it.
Hold on. Who's I missed that, Larry. Who's the predator?
The college is the predator, and the so-called cable companies and franchises and stuff. But they're businessmen. They got to be predators.
They're just. I mean, predator is. It's not the right.
They are predators.
Yeah,
it's a predator. The internet's predatory. You got to admit that. For some person who have who cannot read,
it just is.
When I think of the word predator, I think of an animal that's going to pounce and slice up.
Like a mad lizard or some vulture or something.
Or the movie character, the Predator.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call tonight, Larry. I do appreciate it. I understand the distrust of corporations, and I'm with you there. I mean, you shouldn't trust a business just because they exist or they're big. But at the same time, you have the option to buy cable.
Right.
You don't have to, which means they're not, by definition, a predator. They're not, attacking you. They're sending you some mailers, which you can then chuck in the garbage. I mean, that's an offer. It's not a predatory attack.
And to say that internet providers are being predatory, well, in a sense, I'm going to say they are, but it's because government creates monopolies in individual areas. So I don't have a choice of what internet provider I can have at home. I have one, and that's it.
Wait a minute. Now, is that the government's fault? Because you were actually a selectman on the town council. Is there an exclusive monopoly agreement with that provider?
There are 2, but where I happen to live, there's only one that's found it financially feasible to build out where I live. So I have one choice, but there are a lot of communities around the country that do only have a single internet provider. So they
We'll come
are
back.
in a...
Let's talk about it. More on the way here. Hour 2's coming up. This is Free Talk Live. Join us here.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-261-9818 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-261-9818. Again, 800-261-9818.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.34 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,237. Antiwar.com reports the Syrian army continues to gain ground in the Damascus suburb of eastern Ghouta with airstrikes and artillery killing dozens on Friday, and reports that the Syrian pro-government forces have control of about 70% of the region. Local civilians are fleeing as best they can, but those trapped in combat situations are in considerable risk. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that cluster bombs were dropped on the Ghouta town of Kafr Batna along with incendiary bombs. The incendiaries are causing serious burn to a lot of civilians, but the cluster munitions are a long-term danger. Many cluster munitions hit the ground without exploding and remain littering the region for years, inflicting new casualties all the while. Russia is pushing for the rebels to surrender, but they have rejected this proposal. Rebel officials say the terms for negotiations are rejected, though with the Syrian military rapidly taking more territory and thousands fleeing, they may not have much bargaining room to avoid surrendering or outright defeat.
Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io.
UPI reports U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos announced on Friday that California schools harmed by devastating wildfires in October will receive $2 million to help with recovery. She said the new federal aid to the California Department of Education will fund portable classrooms, substitute teachers, mental health services, transportation for displaced students, and substitute bus drivers. She said these resources will help ensure students, teachers, and staff have access to the services they need as they continue to recover. The aid, called Project SERV can be used to fix problems caused by the fires. The wildfires burned more than 170,000 acres in California in October, which destroyed at least 3,500 homes and killed more than 40 people. Governor Jerry Brown estimated damage from the fires, some in the region's wine country, could ultimately cost tens of billions of dollars. More fires threatened the state in December, including the 270,000-plus acre Thomas Fire, which became the largest fire in modern California history. 2 people, including one CAL FIRE engineer, were killed in the blazes, and the Thomas Fire destroyed 1,026 structures, including 756 homes.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports a U.S. senator demanded documents on Friday related to the construction of a new footbridge in Miami that collapsed on Thursday and killed at least 6 people, as federal and local investigators work to determine the cause of the tragedy. In a letter, Senator Bill Nelson of Florida asked the U.S. Department of Transportation to turn over all records related to the engineering, design, construction, safety, and inspection of the project, which spanned a major road next to the campus of Florida International University. Police said more bodies may be recovered from under the rubble after the 950-ton, $14.2 million bridge plummeted onto traffic on one of the busiest thoroughfares in South Florida on Thursday, crushing vehicles trapped underneath. Officials said the victims have not been named, but at least one was a female student at FIU. At least 10 people were taken to hospitals. 2 remained in critical condition on Friday, according to officials and local news media. Uncertainty over the stability of remaining sections of the bridge hampered rescue efforts, according to officials. Florida Governor Rick Scott's office had said that a company contracted to inspect the bridge was not pre-qualified by the state, adding if anybody has done anything wrong, we will hold them accountable. Munilla Construction Management, which installed the bridge, said it was devastated by what happened and was cooperating with investigators and doing everything they could to help. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports earlier today that Indiana University freshman Lawrence Plotnick's roommate Brian Tabor has found an excuse to go home every weekend since August, Plotnick spoke to Onion reporters about his roommate's frequent trips to his nearby hometown of Terre Haute, Indiana.
Every week since we got here, it seems like every time I ask him if he wants to hang out on Friday, he has some wedding or birthday party or something. In fact, I'm pretty sure he hasn't spent a single Friday or Saturday night on campus in the past 6 months.
Plotnick went on to cite a variety of far-ranging excuses used by his roommate to justify his constant visits home, including various family functions, a visiting friend from China, as well as his occasional desire to, quote, just hang out at home for a couple of days.
I mean, I suppose I vaguely understood when he had to go back in November because his best friend's grandfather died, but last weekend he had to go back for his aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. He said he couldn't miss it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program, and as always, you're invited to join us on the radio here. Take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything that you want. It's the point of the program. That's why we call it Free Talk Live. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian and Chris. So if you are just tuning in here tonight, the second hour is what we're kicking off right now. We spent the first hour, and there's actually still more to talk about, I think, on this subject of the supposed quarter-life crisis. According to a study in the UK of 2,000 respondents, they included, of course, millennials, and 6 out of 10 millennials in that study claimed to be going through a quarter-life crisis. They are frustrated because they are spending more than they earn each month. Yeah, that's going to cause a problem. Then also trying to find the right job, working in a challenging job, trying to get on the property ladder, and being in the right relationship. So we kind of talk generally about these crises, whether they be the midlife crisis that everybody's heard about, or the quarter-life crisis, as we're now just finding out about. People find themselves in a, let's call it, dissatisfying place in life.
Yes.
And they're frustrated because they feel like time's running out. Of course, if you're having a quarter-life crisis, you got plenty of time.
Right.
You can get your S on track. And even if you're having a midlife crisis, it's still probably not too late to change spending habits and change financial habits to make the rest of your life a little bit more sane.
Right.
A little bit
less
more
stressful.
Right.
Yep.
Comfortable. And we had just gotten started onto a list here of suggestions as far as Darain Faraz, who is a supposed careers expert at LinkedIn, has his top tips. There's 5 of them for dealing with a crisis or a quarter-life crisis. And this may also apply to midlife crises as well. And the first one was to stop comparing yourself to others. A surefire way, he says, to bolster the feelings of disappointment and underachievement is to compare your own career trajectory to your peers. Remember that everyone's at a different stage of their journey, so don't compare yourself to others. Whatever your definition of success is and whatever makes you happy is enough.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And whether you're starting out in the job market and you're looking at your boss going, what a moron, I could do his job, I could do it even better. I've heard kids say that. Or if you've been there for years and years and years and, somebody else is promoted ahead of you. These things, it's just part of life, but that's okay. You've got your own track that you're going to go down. And when you start to look elsewhere, you're either going to feel superior to someone for no real good reason, or you're going to feel bad.
Well, I would say that it's probably, if you're going to compare yourself to others, then it's more damaging to compare yourself to the people who are doing better than you.
Of course.
You can always turn that around and compare yourself to the inevitably large number of people elsewhere in the world or in your own city that are doing much worse than you are, whose financial habits are worse.
What kind of a life is that? No, I'm doing so much better than that.
I'm not recommending. I'm not recommending.
You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, if you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody who's doing better and feeling, like you're bad off because of that, just remember, you've got air conditioning, you've got, heat, probably, right? Like if you're listening to me, you could be listening to me in the deepest depths of Africa because we do have a satellite signal there. And if you don't have those things, then, disregard the statement.
Right.
But, if you're in the Western developed world, you probably have a cell phone, you probably have a television set, you probably have some very nice accoutrements of life that many in the rest of the world don't have. They may not even have power. We had Akko from Cameroon call us from, I think, Chad once, where he had to call us when the generator was on.
Right.
To be able to use some power.
It's an opportunity to be thankful for where you're at.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
be grateful for the things that you do have rather than constantly comparing yourself as behind the ball to others. Because you're always going to be behind somebody else unless you happen to be for that split moment, that's that infinitesimal moment in time where you're Michael Phelps, the world's top swimmer in the world. You just got the gold medal. Okay, fine. You may actually be the best at something for a brief moment, but 6 months later, some young guy or whatever is going to be able to top your record or whatever.
Exactly.
So it doesn't help you to be constantly comparing. That's what I was saying before is, when people are on social media, I think this contributes to that feeling of I'm behind my peers.
Sure.
If somebody is having a good life, if they're having good things happen to them, I just got promoted. I just flew to, Mexico or whatever. And they're likely to post about the things that are good, that are happening. And if you allow yourself to feel as though you're inadequate because of that, then the problem is with you in that case. But it may be good to not subject yourself to the constant data that could result in comparisons happening.
Yeah, and realize it's tough to realize where you're at in a career because career paths take so many different trajectories, and some are very long term. The payouts way down the line. Sometimes it's a little shorter term, but I look at the jobs that I was working when I was in my 20s, and I was bouncing around. I was trying to find out what made me happy.
Now, weren't you in the military?
I was.
Was that early?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right out of high school. So by the
fresh
time
out of the military, the jobs you had.
But by the time I was 22, I'm like, I really don't feel like working on electronic equipment for another 4 years. I think I want to work in restaurants.
That's a big change.
It is, but I always wanted to be a bartender.
And so you did.
So I faked my way into getting a bar job, but I ended up doing food and beverage, and I worked in food and beverage for 5 years or so. Was managing restaurants and kitchens and things like that, and it was a lot of fun. But then then you hit that point where it's like, oh, I want to do something else, so you do something else, and you've got all that time to experience all those things.
And it's never too late to learn a new skill or to do something different.
Right. But I will say, while I was, being a bartender for the first time in my life, because I thought that sounded fun, I wasn't also sitting there going, but man, I gotta own a house by next year.
How am I gonna get the Lambo?
Right. That was never it. It was like, all right, I need cheap rent so I can still afford to go out and have drinks with all my restaurant buddies.
Right, and there's different things that are important to you at different times in your life, for sure. So here's what American Psycho has to say in our Twitch chat, which he actually posted this last hour. I'd meant to share it, and I'm only getting to it now. But if you want to join the Twitch channel, you can go to twitch.lrn.fm. That's where you can actually watch us live when we're doing the show live, which is 7 nights a week. American Psycho says, keeping up with the Joneses is killing people. People glamorize false idols on social media and try to keep up with the latest and greatest. Keep charging it and making my investments go up, he says. He says Dave Ramsey is a start for most people, those who are woke. He invites them to come join some group of followers of some financial guy. But Dave Ramsey, I'm familiar with that guy. He's a talk show host, and he does kind of basic level financial advice for people, and he's done incredibly well with that, by the way. He's on hundreds of radio stations.
Certainly a market for it.
And he's done it all as an independent. He's not one of those guys who's owned lock, stock, and barrel by some mega corporation. Everything that he does, he gets his own satellite channel. He, does his own marketing. He, does it all. I mean, it's not just him. He's got a huge team of people.
Right.
But, really impressive work on his part. So I tend to agree that he probably has some good advice, although I've never read any of his books. He says it doesn't help people need the latest $1,000 iPhone every 6 months, plus paying for service, new 4K TVs, Jordans, paying for cable. Is that still a thing, Jordans?
I don't know.
Oh,
jeez. I had to think about what you were talking about.
Right?
Yeah, Jordans.
Air Jordans.
Right. I don't know.
Paying for cable. Surely there's still fancy shoes that people follow, that sort of thing. I don't know what they are. Paying for cable, designer clothes, etc. Taking out 8-year loans for a BMW. So again, talking about that issue of trying to have more things to make yourself feel like you've made it, to make yourself feel satisfied or relevant, but is it really going to satisfy? Because when you get this thing, well, you're probably going to want something else, right? Like the anticipation of the thing is sort of more of the process, or more of the, if there is a satisfaction, more of the overcoming, the achieving than the actual acquiring the thing. Because by the time you get the thing, you're already there, right? Like you've gotten to the point of having that thing.
Well,
and
unless you're charging it. Which is unfortunately what too many people do.
Right, if you're charging it, then you get the thing and you miss all the anticipation and the workup. It's a mess.
Yep.
And then you end up with debt and a thing that devalues instantaneously upon you unboxing it.
Correct.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can share your thoughts here. We got more tips on the way on satisfaction at life. It's Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio, take control of the airwaves, and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Or you can Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. And finally, you can also call us on the Discord on-air call-in line chat room on our Discord. You can go to discord.lrn.fm on pretty much any device, and you can get in there. It's Ian and Chris in the studio, and I also want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. You've maybe heard about Bitcoin. Perhaps you've been watching the price of it, but you still don't really know what it is. Well, you should go to Bitcoin.com to find out, because they've got a great intro there to the history of Bitcoin and what it means and why it's so important, what cryptocurrency is all about. Because Bitcoin was just the first of many, many, many cryptocurrencies that have followed in its footsteps for the most part. You can go to Bitcoin.com to learn the basics. You want to get the latest news headlines, however, you can also go to news.bitcoin.com. Again, that's news.bitcoin.com. As we go to more of your calls and thoughts, and then we'll get to the other 4 suggestions. So one was stop comparing yourself to others. These are suggestions that I would say probably will make your life a little bit better, that can help you deal with what they're calling a quarter-life crisis, as 6 out of 10 millennials are reporting that they're having. But first, let's go to Daniel in Virginia Beach, listening to WNIS. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
I was just calling because this station isn't very good, and I'm way out in the sticks. You were talking about somebody who made it on their own, and without saying names, I I figured you were alluding to Limbaugh and Hannity. But did you say somebody's name?
No. We were talking about Dave Ramsey. We were talking about talk show hosts, a talk show host who has made it completely on his own as far as an independently run talk show. Limbaugh is not independent. He is part of the Premier Radio Networks. And Sean Hannity is also part of both Premier and Cumulus Radio Networks. They have some sort of joint ownership of his show. So those guys are owned lock, stock, and barrel.
Oh, I know. I found that out just a couple months ago, and I never listened to either one of those clowns for years. And I'm an old geezer. I'm a former hippie and an addict. If it wasn't for the Lord, I'd not be talking with you now. Okay. But they had this wonderful guy. He's a lawyer. I think he's like semi-retired on, whenever they can put him on, because this is a station for Virginia Tech football and basketball, go figure. Yeah. And my daughter went to Tech with two friends. We're from near Pittsburgh. But I called him because he was saying something that wasn't too nice, but in a very articulate way about
who, the attorney?
Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
And he was, I couldn't believe how open he was being. And I said, I wasn't quite sure what you were saying, Mike. Were you like not talking nice about Hannity? And he said, well, I'm limited to what I can say here, but I don't.
Hold on, just to clarify something. Is this attorney that you're referring to, is he a local attorney hosting a show on WNIS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why couldn't he criticize Hannity?
Well, it's because of this goofy station that's owned by this. Well, if you heard this guy, you guys are probably not old enough to remember the movie Deliverance with Burt
I remember
Reynolds,
that movie.
I do too.
Oh, okay. A squeal like a pig.
Yeah.
If you heard, Well, if you heard the owner of this station and a couple more stations, you would swear that this guy was in the movie. Anyway,
nice.
That's another aside. But and he just very articulately said, "I don't appreciate Hannity's intelligence," or something like that. But the thing that I wanted to make the point with that, since you asked. When Dr. Savage came on down here, I myself called, and I got to talk to some bigwig female at the station, and I couldn't believe she was honest enough to say, which I told this attorney, Mike. I said, and she told me the only reason they kept Hannity, which they already had him on at 3 o'clock when Dr. Savage is on, is because she's best friends with Sean Hannity.
Because the owner is, or she, the lady who you talked to?
No, she herself. Yeah, this bigwig at the station. Yeah.
Well, it is a small business. I mean, the radio business. And Daniel, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And I don't mind talking shop, on the air.
And those are big names. I mean, those guys have a following.
They do within the world of talk radio for sure, and of course Hannity's on television as well. But it is a small business, and when you go to the conventions, you always see the same people kind of moving around to different companies. So the names very rarely change. There's very rarely anybody new who kind of comes up in the business. And so if somebody worked with Hannity when they were in New York City or whatever, and then they moved to a station in Virginia, and they're going to put Hannity on the air, there's just something to that. And to some extent, there's also a monkey see, monkey do aspect where when we started doing Free Talk Live back in 2002 and were ultimately syndicated in 2004 by the very same network that's still running us today, Genesis Communications Network, who, by the way, has always been very hands-off with us, and they don't try to tell us what to do. Of course, it also helps that we're their number one most widely syndicated program, so
doesn't hurt.
That doesn't hurt either. But the reason we got there was, when we started with them, we weren't number one. We were just some show with 3 stations that they gave us when we first started. But those early days of trying to pitch the show to a program director, that's a hard thing to do. It's like, hey, we want you to take off the air something you currently have on the air and put this show on that no one's ever heard of before, that has virtually no track record and virtually no affiliates. You want to add the show? So that's a hard
sign me up
position to be in.
Right.
But once you get on 20, 30, 50, 70, then it's easier to convince somebody, oh, well, these guys have been around for a decade. They've been they're on dozens of stations and they haven't quit. They haven't gone away, because a lot of shows, the ones you don't know the names of, they'll start with one of these syndicates like Premier Radio Networks, the same company that runs Rush Limbaugh. Can you name the show that they run in the evening hours?
No idea.
Probably not. The name of the show is actually America Now, but the host has changed over the years. So it was
good idea.
It was a guy named Andy Dean for a while, who was this real kind of, I'd describe him as a prick. He was just a punk, young conservative kind of guy.
Right.
I actually ended up having a debate with him at the Talkers Conference a few years back on stage, and just that was a lot of fun. Then they changed him out and put in Meghan McCain.
There you
the
go.
daughter of John McCain.
Sure.
And then they changed her out after another year and a half or whatever, and they put in some guy named Buck Sexton. Yeah,
That kind of makes sense. I mean, if you're dealing with a sort of a transient workforce, then give yourself a nice generic name, and you're always ready.
No, I'm not faulting them for that. I think that's from their perspective a smart thing to do.
It is. I understand.
But it's it's hard to get to the point where you can be known and recognized in this business. And so people like Rush Limbaugh, who've been around forever, I mean, to some extent, we all owe a debt of gratitude to Rush Limbaugh, whether or not you agree with him, and certainly we do not on a lot of different issues. The guy paved the way for political talk radio in the United States.
No doubt.
So that much is true. Let's continue here. Dave is on the line in New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Or excuse me, Dave's in New York. Dave in New York. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing? You guys were talking. You guys were talking about you should be thankful for what you have, and I am thankful for the friends that I have, and I'm thankful for the money that with the job. Because I was talking last night about Instacart. I know that there's a guy.
Hold that thought. I know you've got a lot of them.
Yeah.
They're just spiraling out of his mouth at maximum speed.
Fast and furious.
We're going to continue here in moments. We'll see. And it is good, though. Dave is right. It is good to be thankful for all of the good things in your life. And it's important to focus on positives like that rather than, whatever it is that might be lacking. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Free Talk Live.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Now, a lot of little girls do ballet even though their fathers couldn't care less and don't see what the big deal is. But one talented little prodigy actually choreographed a whole ballet that her father could enjoy and even look forward to. Let's meet Erin Kemper and her father, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Erin, how did you do that? I thought about all the things that my dad likes to watch and put it into a ballet.
Well, we have a special treat for you today because Erin is now going to perform her new ballet. When I pay the bills, I get to make the rules.
We can't afford that. World War II. I miss your mother too, but we're going to have to do the best without her. Go Redskins!
Bravo! Well done. Boy, I wish she were mine. You know, my two girls are grown up, but you still couldn't pay me to watch one of their a cappella shows. What inspired you to create this amazing ballet?
I'm really inspired by the theme of my dad paying any attention to me at all.
Now, at the end, I hear she just put the game up on the big screen.
I don't know where she gets it.
This is the Onion News Network.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dean and Chris in the studio here. We'll take your calls about whatever's on your mind. We are talking sort of off and on about these millennials that claim they are suffering a quarter-life crisis, and whether they actually are or not. There are definitely people who are dissatisfied in life, whether they happen to be millennials or Generation X or whoever the heck you are, whatever individual your circumstances might happen to be. There are certain things that you can do to make yourself feel better about your life. And one suggestion that we're going through this list slowly, and we'll get through more of them as we go on here, from a careers expert at LinkedIn, says the number one thing to do is to stop comparing yourself to others. To be grateful, for instance, for the things that you have. We're adding, our own tips in here as we go through. And I think it's also important to point out here that while there's a kind of the idea of not comparing yourself to others is important, at the same time, that's not to say you shouldn't have your own goals in life, right? Like, you shouldn't just be sort of floating in the wind and, and not really knowing where you're going.
Right, and you can gain inspiration from seeing others, you know what I mean? And maybe that works for you. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but
there's a difference between jealousy and inspiration, right?
True, and there's a difference between achievable goals, measurable achievable goals that are realistic, and saying, by the time this time next year, I will be able to play basketball better than Michael Jordan. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to Dave. He's in Poughkeepsie, New York. And Dave, you're back on Free Talk Live. So what were you calling about tonight, Dave?
I was calling about the job that I have. And see, I was talking before, and then you guys go to a commercial break. That kind of upset me, because I was talking, and then all of a sudden you guys go to commercial break, and that kind of upset me,
Well, one thing that you need to do in life to be more satisfied is not be upset by the actions of others.
True.
Not let the decisions of other people get to you. In this case, it's a decision that's basically out of our hands.
It has been occurring at the same time every night for how many years?
More than a decade,
right.
Yeah. So, welcome to radio. We have commercial breaks. That's just the way it goes. I understand that there is an argument that commercials can break up a conversation, can ruin the flow of a good conversation, and I think there's an argument for that, in which case you might be better off listening to podcasts, Dave. But anyway, here you are. You're on live radio. You have an audience of maybe hundreds of thousands of people. What is the important thing that you wanted to share with them?
I do listen to podcasts. I listen to Stardate.org. They have podcasts every single day, which I listen to.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
It's Stardate.org, and you just have to go look at it, and they do podcasts every day.
Started?
STARDATE.org. And speaking of radio,
hold on. Whoa. Slow down now. Now, is this a podcast for like Star Trek fans, or is this like a dating podcast. What is it?
Yeah.
It is not a dating podcast, not dating. It's just it talks about galaxies and stars and sun, Earth, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
So you're
talking
like a
about
science,
radio,
you're a science geek. You,
that's cool.
That's cool, man. It's a nice hobby. All right. What else?
And then you guys were talking about radio, about how a commercial and whatever. There's one radio station that I listen to that doesn't have commercials, and that is SomaFM.com.
All right, that's enough plugs. Thank you for the call tonight, Dave. I appreciate it. So, yeah, obviously, if you're listening to internet radio, you're much less likely to hear commercial break sets like they have in broadcast radio.
You can even pay to not hear them.
That's absolutely true, and you can't do that with broadcast radio.
Right.
You kind of have to take what you get with that. It is an old model. You know, radio's been around for a long time now. I think, 100 years or more?
100 plus.
Since Marconi found it, broadcast radio starting in the early 20th century in the United States with the FCC coming about and all that.
Well, interestingly enough, when radio started, it was a bunch of hackers.
Yeah.
It was just guys that wanted to talk on the radio. They came up with their own shows. They played whatever music they had around the old Victrola they would wind up.
No commercials back then.
Yeah, they would have ministers that would do that. And, you know, the big media companies, the Hollywood crowd particularly, and big businesses looked at that and said, we can't have this. We're not making money off of it. So you get one of those examples of, you know, a lot of big companies, Westinghouse and
RCA.
General Electric, RCA, who were making the equipment, went and begged for regulation. We've got to wrap our hands around this. They could say whatever they want on the air. My God.
Yep. And, well, the excuse wasn't necessarily they could say what they want. It was, we need to control the bandwidth. We need to control who gets on because it could be anarchy.
Could interfere with other channels. And so we have to restrict wattages and everything else.
And then content restrictions came, I think, probably after that.
Yeah. Here's another book plug, because I always do it, and this one I plugged a million times, but it is by Stephen Wu. The Master Switch. I probably have his first name wrong. Tim Wu.
What is it? What's it about?
It's about how new technologies tend to go through the same cycles of disruption. It starts off with the hacker mentality. The people
like Bitcoin.
Exactly. That get into it, and then you get big companies that become jealous and want to regulate, and
they hire the hackers,
right? And with
them.
that, exactly. But what happens is we begin to lose all the innovation and all the interesting things that were going on before, and it's a cycle. And
you definitely lose innovation when government comes into play, right? Because when there's a restricted marketplace, you don't have as many competitors. The competitors are going to feel more at rest than they are at competition with one another. They're going to, just take it easy rather than have innovation happening and research and development and all that, because they know they're protected by upstarts. They're protected from upstarts, rather, by the government's whatever regulatory agency. So whether we're talking about the Restaurateur Association or the radio regulations by the FCC, it all is the same idea of let's keep the innovators out. Let's keep the upstarts out. Let's keep the newbies out of the market so all the old players, the old guard, can stay in business. They don't have to really think too hard. They just have to keep offering their product and service in the way that they've always done it, and then they'll retire when they feel like it.
And we'll be able to restrict competition, so we can build this sort of government-sanctioned monopoly. And it is Tim Wu. I'm sorry. It's called The Master Switch, The Rise and Fall of Information Empires, but highly recommended.
Yeah. Thanks for doing that. Let's see. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450. Free like freedom. Let's talk to David. He's in New Mexico. David, you're on Skype, actually. It's Skype username LRN.FM. Go ahead.
Yeah, you had got an email from, a newspaper dude in Alamogordo? You're saying yesterday or the day before?
The newsman who is actually the owner of the radio station that airs us in Alamogordo. Yeah, Ken is his name.
Okay. Can you share a little bit more of the type of things? You can cut out whatever names you want to feel comfortable.
So what you're referring to is an email that he had sent with a detailed rundown of some of the really just terribly corrupt things that were going on and continue to go on in the Alamogordo area, and it is a very, very lengthy. I'll just excise an example from you here, because to actually read this on the air would take a significant amount of time. But he talks about how he is the newsman at this relatively independent radio station. It's a low-power FM there in town that airs Free Talk Live, I think 7 nights a week, if I recall correctly. But he talks about how he's managed to overturn or basically get the mayors to resign. He says he can go on for hours. Among the scalps on my belt, I count one mayor twice. Under the city's old appointed mayor system, Mayor Susie was ousted by a procedural move because she was exceeding her authority, trying to run a special interest agenda. The city changed in time for the next election to make the mayor's position elected and not appointed. Susie ran and all of her friends got elected for 4 years. After 2 years of my reporting on all the crap I found about special interest stuff, including doing a deal with a major contractor whose high-end residential and commercial development that was illegally annexed by the city without county coordination, had given a lot in the commercial development that they claimed was worth $1 million to the city for the building of a family fun center that had been approved for $6 million by voters, which originally intended to be built in the low and middle class development or neighborhood in town. Now that has morphed into a $7.5 million built out on the bypass with no way for the poor kids in town to get to it easily or safely, as a bowling alley, bar, and grill using the city's municipal liquor license instead of getting its own license. And it just goes on and on with the corruption. More coming up. Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. OneWay.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves. You can dial in toll-free here to bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Coming up here in New Hampshire this summer, it is ForkFest 2018. We will be having a decentralized event at Rogers Campground in celebration of forks, the idea of a thing that is moving forwards, forking off into two separate directions and embracing that as a concept rather than being afraid of it. ForkFest 2018 happening June 14th through the 18th. It's a libertarian camping festival, basically, without any kind of organizational structure whatsoever. So people arbitrarily decided that they were going to attend this thing and they were going to call it this. Other people might call it something different, but it is happening the 5 days prior to a different event called PorkFest, the Porcupine Freedom Festival. So ForkFest kind of forked off of PorkFest for various different reasons, and you can go to forkfest.party to learn more about it. It's again June 14th through June 18th at Rogers Campground. It's in the beautiful White Mountains of northern New Hampshire. If you've heard us talking on the air here on Free Talk Live about the libertarian migration, there's a freedom migration that's been going on for over a decade now, probably, I guess, like 15 years here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Because I think Dave Ridley moved up here in like 2003.
Yeah.
And so there's been this migration where thousands of libertarians and voluntarists and liberty-loving anarchists have moved to New Hampshire and are continuing to move to New Hampshire. ForkFest is a great opportunity to come on up and check out the lay of the land, see how beautiful it is here in the middle of the summer in New Hampshire, meet some of what might be your future neighbors here in the Shire, as some of us like to call it. You go to forkfest.party. There's a forum that you can join. You can see some of the things that are happening because, again, it's decentralized. So if there's something that is not happening that you want to happen, you
make it happen.
Make it happen. So we've got examples of that. So let's see, Jay Noon, he's having his marriage during ForkFest.
Really?
So there'll be a wedding. I believe that's on the Sunday. And then Daryl Perry is doing athletic events because he is an athlete now.
He is.
Very, very good at it. So he's putting together, I don't know if it's competitive or just kind of fun athletic events, but he'll be doing those things. And there's a thread about that on the forum. You can link to that over at forkfest.party. There's a Telegram chat. There are also Discord chats as well for ForkFest. So check out forkfest.party. It's the second year of this decentralized camping event. You know, it was small last year. It's probably going to be small this year, which means it's intimate. You'll get to probably see everybody and talk to everybody that's there. But we don't know what to expect. So forkfest.party. As we continue here, we were talking about some things that you can do to deal with what they call a quarter-life crisis. And this is just good advice in general.
Is this setting up the stage so we're going to have crises every quarter of our life now? So you get one at like, 25 to 35?
That's what they're saying here.
You know, your traditional midlife crisis, then when people in their, 70s or 80s are worried about crisis? Whether they have enough money to make it to the end, they're going to have another crisis. Probably accurate.
In this case, the idea is to avoid such a thing from happening. And you can do that. You can do that by changing your life in a way that will result in you having more satisfaction with what you have. So the first example here from Darian Faraz, a so-called career expert at LinkedIn, shared his top tips for dealing with a quarter-life crisis. Number 1, stop comparing yourself to others. We dug into that pretty effectively already. Number 2, take a step back and identify the root cause. He says it's easy to be weighted down with all the pressures of work and family expectations, often making you too close to the situation. Take a step back and write down what is making you most nervous, be it saving, not being happy in your current industry, or even your personal relationships. This will allow you to address the problem and put you in good stead to talk with others.
That's really good advice, and it's easy, especially when you're stressed and things aren't going well, to sort of develop that tunnel vision where, you think, it's all about the job, but there may be other things going on in your life that are contributing, that are making the job bad, for example, that may have nothing to do with it at all. So,
well, yeah, for instance, your insomnia is keeping you up all night and you're able to get to the job on time, but you're wiped out because you've had no sleep. That could affect.
And let me stereotype millennials again, because you're playing Call of Duty till 4 o'clock in the morning and you're showing up late and your boss is on your ass. Yeah.
So taking back or stepping back and identifying the root cause might be easier said than done, right? Like if you are in the midst of all of the goings on of life, having to get up, be somewhere on time, get back home, get the kids fed, or, do all the things you have to do at home before you have to do it all again the next day. It can be hard to just say, well, how do you step back from all that? You've got so much going on.
Yeah, and
you don't even have time for a vacation, let alone to
step back. And this is where I do look at changes in society and say, has social media contributed to this?
I think so.
I know people that they're on social media all day, all night. That's just what they do, and I see friends of mine posting at like 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, dude, I know you got to go to work tomorrow, and
there they are.
There they are.
Yeah,
I'm guilty of that sometimes too.
Sure, and we all have done it. I do tend to agree. Social media, I think that there are good things, that have come out of it, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they outnumber the bad things that have come out of social media.
I've found that I really have to manage it. It is a part of my life that needs to be managed. And then I ask myself, why is posting on Facebook or Twitter or whatever something I feel that I absolutely have to do? So I haven't really eliminated anything, but I do my posting on Twitter, which makes me post little short things that automatically get posted over to Facebook. So that's sort of how I do it.
That's what I'm doing now as well, is every now and then I'll post something to Twitter. And I really wasn't a constant poster to my own profile on Facebook a lot, but I would post on groups and respond to conversations and get into debates or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a productive way to spend time. It wasn't good socializing. You know what I mean?
It's getting sucked into these situations that
it was originally presented as a way to connect to people.
Right.
And to, form groups with those people of similar interest, and that could benefit you by having those groups. And I think for a short while, it might have.
But then
maybe that's just me remembering the past in sort of a
rose-colored glasses. Yeah, but then the next hour, then the troll showed up.
Sure,
that's about how long it pretty much take, and
I'm guilty of doing some trolling myself.
Of course,
no doubt about it.
Of course,
but it's just a way to pass time, and I don't think it's a useful. Just like getting on a video game system and playing video game is a way to pass time until your ultimate demise. It's a luxury. It's something that we have time for, which means that if you have time to be on social media, you have time to do something else.
Right.
You can stop doing the thing on social media, and then you can do what they're suggesting here: take a step back and identify the root cause. But if you're always involved in these things, these dramas of life, these things that you keep yourself involved in, and there's always some new post somewhere on social media for you to read and respond to.
Yeah.
If you cut that out or cut it back, you can find more time to do other things that might actually be more satisfying or make it for you to feel as though you have the ability to look at your life and get out, take a walk, or something like that.
Because it can be all encompassing, and your life is not what you are on Facebook. I'm sorry to break that to you. Step back, look at your relationships, look at your job.
If you have any left after being on social media.
Exactly.
All the time. So I don't want to say that there's no value in it, because I still have the account, I quit Facebook at the beginning of this year when it was New Year's Eve, and I was just like, you know what? F it.
There we go.
I'm quitting Facebook, but I still have the account. So I didn't delete the account, and I was actually just in it today. It was my weekly, once a week, I process the AMP amplifiers, Free Talk Live AMP program. It's $5 a month. Listeners who support what we do here, support the ideas of freedom and the things we talk about here on Free Talk Live, they can get behind the show. One of the perks of the AMP program is the AMP Facebook group, which is one of the better ones, I would say,
I enjoy it.
on Facebook. And it was one of the reasons why I continued to this is why I should be on Facebook, is because I have these things that I should do for my listeners.
Right.
And eventually I was just like, you know what, screw it. The listeners can find me on Discord or other places.
But we always appreciated your, like once every 2 days. Just as a reminder, I'm no longer on Facebook.
Well, that's what I put on
Facebook again.
That's what I put on my forwarder. So every time I post to Twitter, I'm reminding people of that, not because I want to rub it in someone's face, but because I want them to know I'm not going to read your comments.
Exactly.
Right? If you respond to a post I make on Facebook, I'm not likely ever going to see it. Like even when I went today, Chris, to go and add the amplifiers to the group, I didn't go and look at my own page to see, did anybody respond?
That's good.
Sorry, not interested in that. I'm not on Facebook. It's been, it's usually once a week for like 5 minutes. That's it.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.34 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,237. Antiwar.com reports the Syrian army continues to gain ground in the Damascus suburb of eastern Ghouta with airstrikes and artillery killing dozens on Friday, and reports that the Syrian pro-government forces have control of about 70% of the region. Local civilians are fleeing as best they can, but those trapped in combat situations are in considerable risk. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that cluster bombs were dropped on the Ghouta town of Kafr Batna along with incendiary bombs. The incendiaries are causing serious burn to a lot of civilians, but the cluster munitions are a long-term danger. Many cluster munitions hit the ground without exploding and remain littering the region for years, inflicting new casualties all the while. Russia is pushing for the rebels to surrender, but they have rejected this proposal. Rebel officials say the terms for negotiations are rejected, though with the Syrian military rapidly taking more territory and thousands fleeing, they may not have much bargaining room to avoid surrendering or outright defeat.
Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zensystem.io. That's zensystem.io.
UPI reports U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos announced on Friday that California schools harmed by devastating wildfires in October will receive $2 million to help with recovery. She said the new federal aid to the California Department of Education will fund portable classrooms, substitute teachers, mental health services, transportation for displaced students, and substitute bus drivers. She said these resources will help ensure students, teachers, and staff have access to the services they need as they continue to recover. The aid, called Project Serve, can be used to fix problems caused by the fires. The wildfires burned more than 170,000 acres in California in October, which destroyed at least 3,500 homes and killed more than 40 people. Governor Jerry Brown estimated damage from the fires, some in the region's wine country, could ultimately cost tens of billions of dollars. More fires threatened the state in December, including the 270,000-plus acre Tommins fire, which became the largest fire in modern California history. 2 people, including one CAL FIRE engineer, were killed in the blazes, and the Thomas Fire destroyed 1,026 structures, including 756 homes.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports a U.S. senator demanded documents on Friday related to the construction of a new footbridge in Miami that collapsed on Thursday and killed at least 6 people, as federal and local investigators work to determine the cause of the tragedy. In a letter, Senator Bill Nelson of Florida asked the U.S. Department of Transportation to turn over all records related to the engineering, design, construction, safety, and inspection of the project, which spanned a major road next to the campus of Florida International University. Police said more bodies may be recovered from under the rubble after the 950-ton, $14.2 million bridge plummeted onto traffic on one of the busiest thoroughfares in South Florida on Thursday, crushing vehicles trapped underneath. Officials said the victims have not been named, but at least one was a female student at FIU. At least 10 people were taken to hospitals. 2 remained in critical condition on Friday, according to officials and local news media. Uncertainty over the stability of remaining sections of the bridge hampered rescue efforts, according to officials. Florida Governor Rick Scott's office had said that a company contracted to inspect the bridge was not pre-qualified by the state, adding if anybody has done anything wrong, we will hold them accountable. Munilla Construction Management, which installed the bridge, said it was devastated by what happened and was cooperating with investigators and doing everything they could to help. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Calling it the most effective means to reaching one's full earning potential. A new report issued by the Employee Benefit Research Institute this week found that violently slamming one's supervisor against a wall and shouting, "Cash, I need more cash," is still the leading tactic for securing a raise amongst American workers.
We found that employees have the most success negotiating their salaries when they stride confidently into their supervisor's office, manhandle them like a rag doll, and demand more money right now.
Experts confirmed that the majority of employees who managed to increase their salaries maintained direct eye contact with their supervisors while reiterating that they were not f***ing around, emphasizing their position with phrases such as, "Give me the money now," and "I said more cash, old man." The Onion sat down with Kevin Simmons, who recently applied these methods in negotiating a competitive bump in his annual salary.
So the other day I walked right into his office, grabbed his throat with my hand, and told him straight up, "Start paying me more f***ing money today."
And I grabbed $100 out of his wallet and told him that was a good start.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. You can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio with you, it's Ian.
And Chris.
So if you're just tuning into the show here tonight, so far we've been on kind of a self-improvement discussion.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, well, that's what we've turned it into. We started talking about the idea of a quarter-life crisis now with millennials in the UK, at least, in one study saying overwhelmingly 6 out of 10 of them saying they're having a quarter-life crisis. They're disturbed by various different things like the fact that they spend more than they earn. That's a problem. Also, frustration over trying to find the right job for them or working at a challenging job, trying to get on the property ladder and being in the right relationship. Now, remember, life isn't necessarily all about getting a good job. I understand this is what they train you in the government schools, is that you have to go and get a good job in order to, make money, have a career, and then ultimately retire after you've had children and grandchildren and so on. You could also start your own business, right? So it's not all about having a job and relying on another entity, relying on the kindness of the boss or the owner at that particular job. And frequently, a lot of jobs are going to have things that are disappointing and less than satisfying in your life. Whereas if you are working for yourself in your own business,
every day can be like that.
Well, you can be disappointed in yourself for sure, but you can't blame anybody else
exactly
in that circumstance. And of course, when you're working for yourself, whatever it is you're generating, the money that you're generating, the things that you're doing, they're benefiting you directly rather than benefiting the boss or the owner
or the shareholders
of the company. So you gain more when you actually win when you sell your product or service that you've created. So again, this study is within the sort of inside the box, right? Like, people are frustrated with their job. Nobody's asking them about, do you want to start your own business? Because people aren't trained to do that. They're not brought up. They're not educated with an entrepreneurial mindset, and that's a problem because it goes back to the worker drone issue that we had talked about earlier. So, but going on here, so we can acknowledge that people feel frustrated, whether it's a midlife crisis or a quarter-life crisis, or just, overall frustration with where somebody is in life. There are things you can do, and this is some tips from Darian Faraz, a so-called career expert at LinkedIn, sharing his top tips for dealing with a so-called quarter-life crisis. The first two tips, which we've already delved into so far in the show, are stop comparing yourself to others, and number two, take a step back and identify the root cause. Let's move to number 3. Be kind to yourself. Going through a quarter-life crisis can be a difficult process and exacerbated by becoming your own worst critic. Remind yourself that it's a positive experience that will hopefully enable you to make a change and progress both with your career and with your life, eventually making you happier in the long run. As you can see from the research, the crisis doesn't last forever.
Yeah, and I think that gets easier to understand the older you get. Early setbacks are devastating.
When they're your first setbacks.
Exactly. If you're 18 or 19 years old and you get fired from a job, I'm sure some people sit there and go, "Well, I'm unemployable. How did I ever get fired from this?" But
it could have been them, or it could have been you,
right?
Or both.
But yeah, I mean, every. And you'll find out as time goes on that the most adversarial experiences in your life are probably the ones that are going to be the most valuable to you later on.
That's where the growth can come from.
Sure. When everything's going smoothly and there's no issues whatsoever, you're not really picking up a lot. You're profiting or you're doing well and things like that. That's okay.
I can't tell you how many times where I've seen people who've had a tough thing happen to them, getting fired or broken up with or something like that, and then saying to them, "Hey, it'll work out. Everything's going to work out. This actually may be a doorway to a better opportunity. And I've seen that happen so many times where somebody will get fired from a job and they'll be distraught over it. And then, a few days later, a new door opens or is presented and they've got something better on tap as a result.
Yeah. And the point of this and what he says here is be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Right. Because there's all sorts of externalities that can occur that you have no control over, none whatsoever. And that stuff just flies out of the blue, and sometimes it smacks you upside the head. Don't take it personally.
Well, one thing's for sure, you're not going to find the next. If you're looking for a job, you're not going to find the next great one laying in bed feeling sorry for yourself.
Right.
So you have to. As I was saying before, life does have a tendency. The universe, or whatever you want to call it, has a tendency of presenting you with these tools, with the things that you need to get over that challenge, whether it be being out of a job or finding another relationship or whatever. The tools are there, but you have to pick them up. You've got to use them. You can lead the horse to water. You can't force him to drink.
Right.
The same thing's true for people suffering from frustration or depression after having bad things happen. And it's like trusting life, basically, trusting the idea that there are better things that are coming and that you just have to get through this. This is a temporary stumbling block. It's a challenge that you can absolutely overcome, and that everything's going to be all right.
Agreed.
Number 4 on the list here, talk to others. It's important to discuss feelings of discontent. Talking to others about certain issues not only helps you rationalize the problem, but helps with the solution. Though it's great that your friends and family are there to support you, it's also good to get an unbiased point of view, especially from someone who has experience in your industry.
Oh, unless they disagree with me. I say that jokingly, but usually, yeah, I've had so many examples where, I'll be explaining where I'm at and why things aren't going well, and they say, well, you ought to just da-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, what are you talking about? 10 minutes later, you think about it and go, that was actually dead on.
Really?
That was exactly right. And the idea that you have every answer in your head for every possible situation that's going to occur in your entire life is foolhardy at best. And I think it's another thing you learn as you get older, that people have a wealth of experience and a wealth of insights in different things, and they are such a valuable resource if you can listen to them.
Yeah, and I think that's important, is being able to listen as well as talk, right? Like, you want to express yourself about the things that are frustrating or going wrong in your life, but at the same time, you don't want to pour all over somebody constantly as far as the things that you're just spewing out. So you don't, if you are getting together with friends or coworkers or whoever to have these discussions, take whatever they say, look at it, and consider what you want to implement. You don't want to be known as the guy who's always complaining, though, right? Like,
absolutely.
If life is throwing you some curveballs, if there's difficulty, I don't think there's anything wrong with expressing that to people that you care about or who care about you. But at the same time, you want to show progress. You want to show them that you are working on the ideas they suggested, or rather than just continually coming back to the bar table with your friends and bitching and moaning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's not
and if
helpful.
if I were the author of this, I might consider changing talk to others to listen to others.
Yeah, that's a great point. Listening is an art. It is something that is also not taught in schools.
No,
because when your mouth is moving, you're not listening. In fact, one of the tips for good listening is to try to talk less than the other people.
Right.
To hear what they're saying and to internalize it as much as possible. All right, number 5, and then we'll get to your calls and thoughts here. Research. Once you have discussed your situation with the relevant people, it's important to go away and research your options and, most importantly, your passions. Whether it's starting a new career altogether, going traveling, or progressing with your current role, it's necessary to be aware of your possibilities. So,
yeah, I've said this so many times throughout my life. The worst moves I've ever made were because of money. When I was chasing dollars.
Were you desperate?
No. When I left a job that probably made me happy, but I took another one just to make
Because
more
of the
money.
The worst career move.
Yeah. Well, happiness moves.
Yeah. All right, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. And don't be afraid to undo a move if you feel like it's a mistake. It's tricky. We're coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here on the live Saturday edition of the show. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can also call on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. You can utilize the on-air call-in line chat room of our Discord as well over at discord.lrn.fm. There are people in the Free Talk Live chat right now talking about various different things on the Discord. So check that out when you get a chance, whether you want to call in or just chat with others. The Discord's pretty cool, and it's free and cross-platform at discord.lrn.fm. Both you and I are relatively frequent in that Discord, Chris.
I try to be. It's a lot of fun.
Your handle there is Organism?
Oreganism.
Right.
That's an organism from Oregon.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications and other things can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has become one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Now, there are a lot of cryptocurrencies out there from which you can choose. Why would you want to pick Zencash? Well, this one was created by Voluntarist. It's relatively new on the scene, started back in 2017, and they wrote voluntarism right into the white paper of Zencash. You can go and see it for yourself. In fact, it's there no less than half a dozen times. Zencash.com is where you can learn more about Zencash and the cool technology behind it, like the zero-knowledge proof anonymity system. They're working on decentralized autonomous organizations for governance and more. Go and get all the details. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. As we continue here with your calls and thoughts, let's talk to Robert. He's in Bellows Falls, Vermont. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the Second Amendment rights because I'm a little confused about something.
Okay, go for it.
Now, we've had for quite some time, these shootings, across the country and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, these shootings started back in 1966 with the Texas Tower shooter, but the most of these shootings have happened in the 90s and beyond that. But
they've gotten more frequent starting in the 90s, certainly.
Exactly. What I don't understand is, it seems to me that whenever these shootings happen, that the people that are affected by the shootings, it seems like there's a lot of them, that the first thing they want to do is they want to make some kind of a change to the Second Amendment right.
Yep. There's frequently calls for restrictions on guns.
Sure.
After these shootings.
And a couple of questions come to mind. Number one, gun laws are racist, and I don't understand why, nobody hasn't filed a lawsuit to challenge all of these gun laws because they're all racist.
Now, when you say they're racist, what do you mean?
Meaning that if I'm a convicted felon, I can't have a gun. Okay, so.
Well, wouldn't that be classist?
My question to that is,
wouldn't that be more likely to affect poor people than it would be? I guess you could argue that blacks are more likely to be targeted by police and get felonies, so therefore.
Well, a couple things. First of all, a lot of the gun laws were created with a racist agenda.
I bet that's true.
Yeah, and even as we've debated here in New Hampshire, we've made changes to our concealed carry permit because.
That is to say that you can now conceal carry in New Hampshire without a permit if you want.
Right, but the license itself required that you be a suitable person.
And they've changed that.
Right, but when they wrote that, a suitable person was someone who wasn't Italian or Irish. And so we can look at that, and you can go back to a lot of the early gun laws because gun laws are nothing new. They've popped up here and there, but in the in the Reconstruction era after the Civil War, there were a lot of gun laws that were enacted with the intent of keeping guns out of the hands of blacks, and that's just a fact. It's a disgusting part of our history. So I agree with you, Ian, that what Robert brings up is really more about class warfare and demonizing people for forever. The idea that a felon can never be rehabilitated and trusted. I think it's insane because when every person is born with the absolute natural right of self-defense. If you are attacked by a dog when you're 4 years old, you have every right to fight that dog off. And if you're 24 years old and you got out of jail and somebody attacks you with lethal force, you still have a natural right of self-defense.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, isn't it true that, and maybe it's not true in every state, but I know, I'm pretty sure here in New Hampshire, if you are a felon and you are attacked, and let's say your attacker has a gun, and you're able to wrest the gun somehow away from that attacker rather than getting blasted by him or her,
right,
that you then can use that gun to put an end to the conflict in that circumstance, even though it's illegal for you to possess the weapon.
I've never heard that, but that's interesting.
I think it's true because Rich Paul, who was a co-host here on Free Talk Live and has moved back to New Hampshire, he was in a situation downtown Keene after he had gotten out of jail, was on probation, certainly unable to possess weapons because of the probation, which is an even stronger restriction than he would have had after his probation.
Right.
He got into, there was a skirmish downtown with some haters who were threatening him, and he grabbed a monopod, which was normally a camera, steadying device, and utilized that in a defensive manner. And they came after him saying, you violated the no weapons policy of the probation, but he won it. Because of the idea that it wasn't a weapon. He didn't have it as a weapon initially, but in that circumstance, he used it as a weapon.
Right.
If he had used it offensively as a weapon, it would have been a weapon.
Right.
But because he used it defensively in that case, he was exonerated of those charges. Now, again, the state did come after him.
Of course.
But the state's own defense attorney, the public defender, actually did a really bang-up job of defending him.
That's great. I'm one of those few people that I don't believe that felons should be denied the natural right of self-defense against lethal force, and I don't believe that because someone has a mental illness that they automatically start losing natural rights that they were born with. So
although that said, we did have a situation with a guy who had gone without a significant amount of sleep here in Keene a few years ago, who was within the activist community, and he had gone insane as a result of that. I'm not talking about myself, although that did happen to me more than a decade ago. I was not armed at the time, but he was.
Right.
And so we did have to use aggressive force against him to disarm that person.
Now, that's completely different.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is laws that say that no, if you are mentally ill, then we can deny you the right to purchase a gun and things like that. I think that's
a slippery slope.
It is,
for
because
sure.
what does insane mean? And you're going to have
the government's definition is going to be very different than some of ours. Robert, go ahead.
Well, it behooves me is that any one person can tell another person that they don't have the right to defend their gift of life. I can't get my head around that.
No.
But equally disturbing on this is that it makes me wonder whether or not that they actually even teach in school, of the Bill of Rights, the Constitution.
Because if they address it, they certainly don't teach it in the way that we might. Thank you, Robert, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. It would be interesting to see that, right? It would be interesting to see the curriculum, maybe some video from inside a class where a teacher is talking about those things. It would be interesting to see the spin.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Live Saturday edition of the program. You just dial on in here. Toll free. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Ian and Chris in the studio with you here tonight, and I do want to let you know about MyPillow. It is a very nice pillow. I enjoy it every single night, and you can get one for yourself. Get it with 50% off by using code FTL over at MyPillow.com. They're a great product that is guaranteed to last you for at least 10 years, and for whatever reason, if you don't like it, within the first 60 days, you can send it back, and they will send you your purchase price back to you. So you know when a company backs its product with money-back guarantee, they really stand behind it. And I have a good appreciation for companies like that. So MyPillow.com with code FTL to get 50% off. It's washable, by the way. Not only will it be fitting to the shape of your body and holding your neck in the proper position, you can also toss it in the washer and the dryer. It's designed for that. MyPillow.com with code FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we continue here, there was actually an interesting question, I think, in the Twitch chat. And for those who are unfamiliar, Twitch is where we do video streaming. So Free Talk Live has always been a radio show since the very beginning when we started back in 2002. At some point, we added a video component when we'd moved up here. I forget at which point that was, but it was a few years after that. Maybe not even a few years. And it was way back when all we had was that construction lamp that you can see over there, and it would sit on this desk and like point at us. It was
the original.
Awful.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awful. And now, now we've got good lighting and decent looking quality video. We're actually up to HD quality now on our Twitch channel. So you can see how far we've come over at twitch.lrn.fm. It's still not like, a professional production. We don't have a producer sitting back there with a video switcher or anything like that. It's basically just a robot that kind of auto switches between the camera angles. But it's there, it's HD, and it's available on the Twitch live streaming service. Also, it's on YouTube, but it's not in HD on YouTube. So you want to see the best version of the show on video, go to twitch.lrn.fm. Give us a follow on there, and then if you want, you can get notifications for whenever we go live. Now, you know that we're on live 7 nights a week. I mean, you might be aware of that, but it's better when you actually get the ding on your phone from a notification from the Twitch app that you might have installed, or an email coming into your email box to let you know, hey, Free Talk Live's on the air.
Nice.
So that reminds you could tune in and watch us and listen live. And there's also people in the chat room that talk about various different things. There's a Twitch chat, which is active tonight, and there's also our Discord on-air chat, which we advertise on our Twitch, so people know about that too. But one of the Twitch chatters, in regards to the conversation we were having about your life and depression or frustration with where you were at, and wanting more, comparing yourself to others, and talking about some of the things that you can do to have a more satisfying life where you are right now, and grow, yet while still leaving room to grow into the future. He had asked the question, his name in there, Mentally Ill Gamer, because again, Twitch is a gaming platform.
Certainly is.
By the way, twitch.lrn.fm is where you can check us out. Mentally Ill Gamer says, how about people that suffer from depression even when good things happen?
Yeah, I've known people like that. And, mental illness, it's an illness. And depression is a type of mental illness. And sometimes there's physiological things that are occurring in your body. It could be hormonal. There's all sorts of other things that can happen. And for those, you want to get the best treatment you can. And that kind of goes back to look for the root cause. Everything
Where's
in my
the
life,
depression coming from?
Right. Everything in my life's going great. Why do I feel horrible? That might lead you to look elsewhere, other than the obvious things like money and relationships and job and
that's a great point. It's always so hard to handle questions like this because, having lived with people who have been depressed, I kind of have some idea of what life is like for them.
Right.
And when you talk to folks who are in a depressed state about depression, if you haven't been there in the way that they are experiencing it, then what is it that you really have that you can say? I can say things about thinking positively and positive affirmations and looking at life in a positive perspective, but that doesn't have an effect on somebody who's experiencing that depression. So it's tough for me to even try to take a swing at answering that. I can rattle off some things that the experts say, help with depression, like go outside, go for a walk. They say that that's a good thing.
But another very common symptom is, people's reaction when they're depressed is to say, nobody can even imagine what I'm going through. Therefore, I'm going to discount everything that comes out of your mouth.
Yes.
And my only advice is, okay, talk to somebody smarter than me. Please do.
I tend to agree with you, though, that there's some sort of root cause. I don't buy the idea that, well, you're born like this, son. You're always going to be depressed. Doesn't matter, what happens in your life. You're always going to have this mental imbalance. It's a chemical thing, just to kind of write it off as though it's not based on something, whether it be some sort of dark, deep-seated thing that happened to you in the past that you've yet to come to grips with, or you've built walls around, or whatever. There are those people out there who have had serious depression and who have figured out or ironed out whatever that issue was in their past or inside of themselves that was causing that, and they've beaten that depression. Those stories are very persuasive to me on this, because I do believe that the mind is incredibly powerful, and you can, whether you're intending to or not, you can create these situations for yourself. You can create that depression for yourself, and that means that you can solve it, but you got to figure out how.
Right. And I don't want this to come across as like, hey, all your answers can be found with your local psychiatrist, because I'm not a real fan of where that industry's kind of gone, and I've seen it firsthand with people I know and with even
Well, they're quick to
my
prescribe
son.
drugs too.
They are. I mean, it's less about diagnosis and more about let's try these different drugs out and let me know which one makes you feel better.
Right, and that deals
That's
with
backwards.
symptoms. Yeah,
right.
that just deals with symptoms. It doesn't deal with the cause.
Well, in their mind, it almost seems like it does. It's
because
almost
they
like
believe it's a chemical imbalance. Oh, we'll just fix the chemicals.
Or they're just saying, we admit that we don't get, and I honestly believe this, I think that the mind is so complex, you can call psychiatrists, doctors, and they can go to whatever training you want, have however many degrees you want, but I think it is undoubtedly the least understood part of treating people that we have. And this stuff, it doesn't go back 1,000 years like our regular medicine does, or longer.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking less than 100 years, or about 100 years for modern psychiatry. It just was never done before that. So I'm always skeptical. It's sort of like when people say that, the science is settled on global warming. Well, yes, the science is settled on mental illness.
Whenever
it's
somebody
not.
says the science is settled,
It's
just go ahead
not.
and write that off, because
Right.
they don't understand science, right?
Yeah.
Science is the continual process of testing theories and, proving them true or not.
Right.
And constantly trying to disprove the things that people think are true.
Right. And to try to tell me that you've figured out and you can explain all the interactions that are in the most complex computer on the face of the planet, and that's that thing sitting
human
inside
brain.
your skull, it just strikes me as unrealistic. We're learning. That's the best we can say.
Right. Now, if there is somebody out there who has had depression, and I mean, real depression that's just sort of ongoing, not a bout of depression. I've had a
Right.
bout of, I think
Sure,
everybody's had
everybody does.
that. But the ongoing problems where you can't get out of bed and you don't feel like you're getting anything done and whatever. If you've had that and you've beaten it, then I think you would be the most useful call for our question in the chat
Right.
room.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for two relatively successful guys to talk about how depression, just figure out the
Yes,
problem, figure out the root cause, iron it out.
Rub a little dirt in it. You'll
Right.
be fine.
But what is your story, and can you share that here? If so, the lines are wide open for you. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And is it something that you've beaten, or is it a constant struggle to kind of keep it beaten? What is it like where you are? The toll-free number is 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. I have a friend who says she's treating her depression with microdoses of psilocybin.
I'm all for her trying that.
Yeah. Again, what works for you? What has worked for you? And you can also join us on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
ID Stronghold wallets are different. They may look the same on the outside. They're stylish. They'll hold your cards and cash. But they're hiding something great on the inside. No, there are no pyrotechnics. And it doesn't sing when you open it. But it does have magical powers. ID Stronghold wallets protect your critical information and identity from thieves standing right next to you. Anyone can buy a cheap RFID scanner online and snag your information just by walking past you. Contactless credit cards, debit cards, even your work ID badge. ID Stronghold was the first to pioneer RFID blocking technology over 12 years ago. ID Stronghold's wallets, sleeves, and badge holders are trusted by the U.S. military and the Executive Office of the President, something the competitors can't say. Secure your identity and save 10% by using coupon code MAGIC at checkout for a limited time at idstronghold.com. idstronghold.com.
Free Talk Live.
You can tell by the way they're dressed, by their demeanor, that these are illegals. Do you understand that they bring in leprosy and tuberculosis?
God, here's the leprosy. Show me the news story about leprosy, and not some crackpot website.
Do you understand this is our country, and this is about our children?
Wait, stop the jingoistic crap. You're picking and choosing. You're saying that a bunch of murdering, raping lepers are coming across the border.
Oh, yes, they are. In fact,
that's nuts, Trish.
There's a leprosy colony
if that was the case, then in fact we would all know about it. I mean, it sounds like the night of the living dead down there at the border, and they're just coming across looking for the brains.
You think CNN and Fox News is going to tell you this? You got another thing coming.
Why wouldn't they? It'd be great for ratings.
By design, it's meant to bring this country.
Oh, now there's a conspiracy behind it, right? You're going to tell me the NWO's behind all this?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us if you want to take control of the airwaves and bring up anything. Even in these remaining moments, we got time for you. With you in the studio here tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Also, if you would like, you can sign up for our email list, and we'll keep you in the loop as far as what's going on with Free Talk Live, usually on about a weekly basis. I sent one of them out earlier today. Over at freetalklive.com. You can find the email sign-up box toward the top of the page there. Once again, that's freetalklive.com. Get on our email list, and you'll be kept up to date, and we certainly do appreciate it. One of the changes that we've made on the Free Talk Live website is to kind of go back to the old way of things. Back in 2010, we did a major website redesign, and we went into Web 2.0 mode, which the idea of Web 2.0, and I don't know what version of the web they're on nowadays, but the idea of Web 2.0 was to have the users' contributions be more prominent.
Right.
Meaning that comments are kind of a Web 2.0 thing. In our case, we integrated a Reddit page or a Reddit subreddit sort of into our website. It's sort of designed into the site that people could submit show prep suggestions to, stories they wanted to hear on the air. And, it never really took off. It didn't really ever die, but it never really became as successful as we had hoped that it would. And so now here we are 8 years later. A couple years ago or a year or two ago, I had the programmers that do the site for us add in a Free Talk Live blog. So it used to be, in the old days, we would post the things that we thought were important. Then we changed to Web 2.0, where you posted the things that you thought were important. And now we have both. Right. So we have the FTL blog, and we have the Reddit. And the only thing that I've done is I had them switch the default page at freetalklive.com. So when you go there now, the default is the blog. It used to default to the Reddit content. And it was just the Reddit had slowed down to the point where I was like, well, it's almost as slow here sometimes on the Reddit as it is on the blog, so let's change things up. Maybe give some of the hosts of the show blogging access. So, Chris, you now have blogger access to the site. You're the only one who stepped up saying you want it, but maybe we'll have other people do that too.
And I got nothing to say right now.
Not right now.
But I'll come up with something. But
it's there.
But it's interesting. Web used to be everything. It was all about the web, but now it's more about apps and applications. So even though Reddit, where we were hoping to get more feedback from users or listeners, now they're on Twitch and now they're on Discord. So the feedback that we get is actually more real time.
That's true.
And more interactive than it ever would have been on Reddit.
And we do have a show prep category on the Discord. So if you want to drop show prep ideas in there, like, again, news stories you want to hear us talk about, that's one place we can check in addition to the Reddit to see what our listeners think is interesting. Now, of course, the best way to get your news on the air is to call directly in, or your opinions. In this case, we'd ask for callers who had, in their mind, defeated depression. Because, as we were suggesting, there may be a root cause. It may not just be the old explanation of, well, you were just born wrong.
Right.
Your brain chemicals are messed up, and you're going to need to take drugs for the rest of your life.
Right.
Is there more to it than that? Terry is on the line listening in Indianapolis to WIBC FM, and you wanted to tell your story. Go ahead, Terry.
Yes, and they are wrong. I lived with my mother with the manic depressive. I've watched her try to commit suicide throughout my whole life.
Ugh.
I'm 57 years of age. She's been on medication. My older sister is still on medication for it. And I wholeheartedly agree. The medication is actually what keeps them there. It actually comes down to mind over matter. I had it in my mind that I wasn't going to be that way. And to this day, I'm very successful, and I am doing great.
Well, it's great to hear.
How did you do that, though, right? Like, I mean, you were suffering from depression. Was there specific, was there something that you implemented, some way of looking at yourself or assessing your thoughts, or was it therapy? What was it that allowed you to solve the problem?
It's basically listening to different talk shows, reading a lot, and also praying a lot. And also watching my family go downhill, and basically telling myself that I was not going to be that way.
Gotcha.
There is really something to kind of the self-programming, like you said there at the end, telling yourself that you weren't going to be that way, to kind of create a self-fulfilling prophecy that you can be well, that it's okay to have bad feelings from time to time, but focus on the positives in life to get out of that. It does take effort. When you are constantly in a depressed mindset or you're thinking negative thoughts or whatever, it does take the ability to be aware of your own thoughts and then to reject the ones that are not helpful to you, and to actively embrace ideas or thoughts that are helpful to you. And I know it sounds silly, but positive affirmations help for me. I mean, I was never a depressive person, but at some point I learned about this idea of, just thinking good things about yourself. You can actually write these things down and you can say them out loud or in your head that are reaffirming that, all kinds of nice things about yourself.
And they can do that.
You start to believe it.
Yeah.
The idea.
The other thing that you brought up, I think, which is important for some people, faith makes a big difference in their lives. And I'm not going to profess to be like the most spiritual person, I'm more spiritual than I am religious, but for some people that helps, and that's okay. That's great. Do you feel that faith was key to your being able to beat this?
Actually, the religion to begin with actually made me feel that I was that way.
Okay.
And then as I got older and on my own, and with the help of different individuals in my life, I realized that faith was the biggest thing that carried me through it.
Interesting.
Yeah, whether it be faith in some sort of external thing or faith in yourself, I think that
true.
Either way.
It's faith in yourself.
Yeah.
That's
it's
good.
Faith in yourself and knowing that somebody up above also loves you.
Thank you for the call tonight, Terry. I appreciate hearing from you. And whether you are, a monotheistic believer, or as I am, a panentheist, somebody who believes that everything is God and that the universe essentially is God, looking at that and coming at it from the perspective as I was earlier and sort of explaining, hey, you may have encountered a rocky time. There may have been some difficulties, some stumbling blocks in life, but knowing that the universe or God or whatever you want to call it is going to provide you with the ability and the tools to defeat those challenges. And whether they be external, like a challenge at a job or a relationship, or whether they be internal, as the Muslims would call it, the greater jihad, the struggle within.
Right.
That's what a jihad is, a struggle. And the greater one, according to the Muslims, and I agree with them completely on this, that's the big one, right? Like, it's one thing to defeat the external enemies, the Goliaths of the world, or your boss at work, or whatever challenges. It's another thing to defeat the internal demons, the internal confusion that one might have.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we can look back through thousands of years of literature and see humans discussing these very same subjects.
That's true.
This is nothing new, and for people that are going through this, I think that's an important realization that, it's going to feel like it's just you and nobody else has ever gone through this. But
no, you're not the first.
You're not the first. You won't be the last. And it's going to be tough.
Our Twitch chatters are, earlier they were referring to, after we mentioned microdosing, they were saying that they'd had some positive experiences with that. Psilocybin has also been, I think, tested in the scientific environment on people with issues, severe mental health issues like depression, like PTSD.
Right.
That has resulted in cures, also MDMA as well.
And here we are, again, as I said, thousands of years of literature, pointing out people that have been depressed and used various things, oftentimes in nature, to help them get through these times. And what does the government do?
Outlaw them.
We don't like that.
Yep.
But
they want people to stay depressed.
They do, and there's that level of cronyism too, where the big drug companies are getting very, very wealthy off of
the treatments.
The treatments that they are protected from competition in. So I love to hear, even if it's coming from overseas, that these trials are starting to begin and they're starting to show results.
The MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, has managed to get DEA and FDA approval to do some limited trials here in the United States, and they have been doing that. So
that's great news.
And then, of course, the Pineapple Fund, the anonymous donor, gave $1 million worth of Bitcoin to MAPS. It's probably only worth $650,000 at this point, but regardless,
but who's counting?
It's still helpful, and they do great work. Hey, we're out of time here tonight. Chris, great having you in. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
We'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget to check out the Discord chat, which is ongoing at discord.lrn.fm and our forum at forum.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN